An all-important match atop the Big East women's soccer table today from the Selleck Bowl in Indianapolis as the Butler Bulldogs host the number 11 Georgetown Hoyas. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Matt Schumacher. A massive rematch between the previous two Big East tournament title matchups, Georgetown and Butler. Butler has not beaten Georgetown in the last 6 matchups. They're also scoreless in those matchups, but today a win would be huge because it would tie Georgetown atop the Big East women's standings. As we take a look at our impact players today, Georgetown has been spectacular offensively, the top scoring team in the conference, and a big reason why Amanda Carolyn, who leads Georgetown in goals and points, making her 80th appearance today. She's tallied a point in 7 of their last 8 matches. And on the other side, for a Butler team that is in desperate need of a goal against Georgetown today, scoreless in the last 6 matches, they hope to get one from Katie Soderstrom, a 5-goal improvement already this year with still a full stretch of games to play in the regular season. Hoyas are unbeaten in the last 9, but Butler have not lost at home since October 6th, 2016. A matchup of 2 of the top teams in the conference next from Indianapolis.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Kickoff right around the corner from the Selleck Bowl in the shadows of Hinkle Fieldhouse as we welcome in the second member of our team, Chelsea Groves, who is pitchside.
Thanks, Matt. The top 2 teams here today have multiple impact players who have set the tone here all season. A few key players to watch, both offensive threats along with the point leaders for both teams as well. First off, Butler's Katie Soderstrom, last week's Big East Offensive Player of the Week. 7 goals already this season. 4 of them have been game winners. 2 game winners last week for the Bulldogs, 2 wins for them. Over on Georgetown's side, Amanda Carolyn, 9 goals so far this season. She has been the Offensive Player of the Week 2 times this season already, looking to tie her single-season record with 10 goals from her freshman year. We have a good matchup today, Matt. I think we're ready.
Looking forward to a rematch of the 2 squads who have seen each other in the Big East Tournament title game each of the last 2 seasons. Georgetown, of course, back-to-back winners of the Big East Tournament, looking for a three-peat this season, unbeaten in their last 9 games. And it's really impressive because they graduated so much from last year, as we'll talk about throughout the course of the match this afternoon. There is always a feeling when you graduate your top 2 scorers and your goalkeeper, there's a feeling of uncertainty of what can we expect from this group this year. Such a young roster in comparison to years past. But as head coach Dave Nolan told Chelsea and I in our pre-match phone call this week, he's been pleasantly surprised with how this young group has come together and handled some early season adversity, able to continue their unbeaten streak over the last 9 games. And then for Butler, a solid season so far. 2 wins away from another double-digit win season. And they hope to be right back in the title game again this year for the 3rd consecutive season. Stephanie Rodriguez in net, and we are underway from Indianapolis. Butler in the all-white home uniforms, and Georgetown in the dark unis. Our first look today at the freshman keeper in elite, who has had big shoes to fill, replacing Ariel Shetman, first team All-American and Big East Keeper of the Year. And here is Georgetown right away, and Annika Schmidt clearing it off the back line. They can score quickly, this Georgetown side. 36 goals for. That is well above the next closest team. In fact, 9 goals in front of Butler, who have 25. And they aren't bagging those goals on a cupcake non-conference schedule either. This number 11 ranking, they've achieved that the hard way. Taking on teams like North Carolina State, a number 5 ranked Virginia team earlier in the season. Kowalski on the right side, likes to come up in the attack. And a foul is called, a restart coming for Butler. Bulldogs led by Terry St. John and Rob Allman. They are the heads together of this Butler program, and they take their work home with them often. Terry St. John joking that it's soccer 24/7 in that household. Husband and wife. Soccer for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Rob Allman and Terry St. John. Ball coming across now for Katie Soderstrom. Our first look today at the reigning Big East Player of the Week. An elite, captain the New Zealand U17 national side in this last U17 World Cup. Third place finish for New Zealand in that tournament. Schmidt banging it back into the middle. Dave Nolan, very complimentary of Butler, of Terry St. John and Rob Allman, and how they've maneuvered this program over the last handful of seasons. A shot of Dave Nolan there in his 16th year as head coach, coming off their most successful season in program history, making it all the way to the College Cup before falling to North Carolina in sudden death overtime. Here's another look at that. Foul sending it back to the Bulldogs. Georgetown staff last year, the National Coaching Staff of the Year, and rightfully so, earning a number 2 national ranking, the highest in program history. Only lost 1 match all year, and that came to North Carolina in the College Cup. And as we talked about at the top of the show, when you lose so many players who are so significant on a run like that, you wonder whether you need to temper your expectations going into the next season. Georgetown 10-2-2. No losses in the conference through 5 matches. And unbeaten in their last 9. They've won 3 consecutive Big East tournament titles, taking down Butler in each of the last 2 years and then Marquette back in 2016. In fact, the last time that Georgetown didn't win the Big East tournament title, it was this Butler team that did it back in 2015, earning their first ever trip to the NCAA tournament. Annika Schmidt making sure she's got plenty of room for the run-up. Looking for Anya Savage, headed into the 6 and deflected wide. And it's out for a Butler corner. Back post, punched away by Leet. Savage turning, runs into a wall. Butler wanted a handball, nothing from the referee. And cleared out by Kloosterman, a Georgetown throw coming. But Butler applying pressure early on this Georgetown back line. There's one more look at it. Incidental handball, and the referee had a perfect vantage point. Savage. Kloosterman now trying to switch fields. And now up ahead for Genamenta. And blocked by Kloosterman. The MO of this Butler team over the years with Rob Allman and Terry St. John at the helm have been defense-first mentality. They like to build from the back, although this year and last year they've gotten more offensive production, but they are so tough to score against. Truly a matchup of two of the best in the conference this afternoon. Izalek trying to head it back in. Menta. Georgetown yelling from all sides of the pitch to continue the pressure. Izalek plays it in. Menta out of bounds and a throw. Edge of the six, a turn perhaps coming. Izalek playing it back in and finally rolled to the feet of Rodriguez, who gets it out of play. She's also had big shoes to fill. It's not just Anna Leet, her counterpart today. Rodriguez, who backed up Leonie Duga and Hannah Lidke for the last two seasons. Her first year as a starting keeper for Butler, and she is first in the league with 6 clean sheets. Shot from Megan Nally blocked, and here come the Dogs. Peyton Black in the starting 11 this afternoon, chasing it out of play. Butler coming off back-to-back wins over Creighton and St. John's. Both 1-0 victories, thanks to Katie Soderstrom scoring past the 75th minute. They are comfortable defending for long stretches of time, which is part of the reason this matchup is so intriguing with the way that the Hoyas like to press. Here's an opportunity again. Nobody home on the back post. But you look at the table right now on the women's side. One more look at that last ball looking back post. But when you look at the table right now, Butler in a 4-way tie for second with 10 points. Villanova, the only other team I should say in that 4 in action today. They are at Marquette. The other two, Providence and DePaul, played yesterday, both picking up big wins. DePaul putting 4 on Seton Hall in Chicago. So with a win today, Butler would certainly tie Georgetown atop the standings, and then would await to see what happens between Villanova and Marquette. That game taking place in Milwaukee this afternoon. Julia Leonard throwing it in. Soderstrom. And guided back by Kelly Livingstone. Turned back into the midfield by Celia Gaynor. And now here come the Hoyas. Royston. And a run for Carolyn, just a few shades out of her reach. Monica Schmidt playing it back for a goal kick now. Monica Schmidt, the redshirt senior from right up the road here in Zionsville. Spent her freshman campaign with UConn, who will be returning to the Big East next season. Trissel. And Macy Miller very physical on the restart and a whistle. From Art Arustamayan, our central referee today. In the black shorts and yellow top. Free kick now for Georgetown. Kowalski. Izalek. So speedy. And now Jenna Menta has come over from the right flank to take this throw. Up on the berm here at Butler. Ball still loose in the area. Tracked down by Julia Lease. Butler coming away with it. Anya Savage. And just trying to relieve some pressure here early from Georgetown. Butler did get a couple of opportunities in the first 5 minutes, but since then, Georgetown have really been on the front foot. Nearly 15 minutes gone here at the Selleck Bowl. Livingstone. Georgetown looking for space. Over the top to Menta. Now a go, but nothing too threatening to Stephanie Rodriguez. Paulina Germino-Watnick, second on the team with 6 goals this year. And playing up top in a 2-forward system under Dave Nolan. Going away from what they've done over the last couple of seasons. Typically, at least in recent years, have played in a 4-3-3 for the most part, at least while in possession. But anytime you graduate a Mac Herman finalist and then another All-Big East player, Caitlin Farrell and Kira Carusa, you have to make some adjustments, but it's really paid off for them this season. And here is Jermina Watnick on the touchline. And a corner kick. Under Rustamayan pointing to the far corner. And the first of the afternoon for Georgetown. There is Arda Rustamayan. Quick corner, and we're underway. Jermina Watnick, second on the team with 8 assists, behind only sophomore Boo Jackson, who's had an absolute explosion in offensive production this season. Rodriguez, the junior, spending 2 seasons backing up Leona Duga and Hannah Litke. Duga, Big East Keeper of the Year in her tenure in Indianapolis. Both keepers today have spent time behind great mentors, and that's one thing that many have said about Georgetown's previous keeper, Ariel Shetman, who Dave Nolan called the best keeper in the country a year ago, first-team All-American. The same could be said for the duo of Litke and Duga and their time at Butler. Dogs trying to get it out of their own end and possess. Haven't been able to do so in about the last 10 minutes. Although they get it back here. Throw-in coming for the Dogs. Carolyn. Played in by Trissel. And Rodriguez snatching it away. Trissel colliding with Gaynor. And now Macy Miller chasing it out for Butler. It's been physical so far this afternoon. Arteris Demayan going over to chat with the Butler coaching staff, who took exception to some of that contact. But we play on. Schmidt, out it goes for a deep throw in the corner for Georgetown. Not much room here at Butler because of the situation with which the situation in which it's set up. The soccer team and the football team sharing this field down in a bowl. And so the berm often plays a role in throw-ins, especially for these two teams that have some players who can really heave it. Nice sweeping view of the bowl. Just 10 minutes north of downtown Indianapolis. But the room between the touchline and the space out of bounds, minimal. It's like you're in a phone booth. Amanda Kowalski to throw it in for Butler. She's had a nice year for the Dogs, making her 54th career appearance this afternoon. Question for Butler is, can they organize something here in the first half? Saw a little bit of it in the first 5 minutes or so. Had a good look off a corner kick early. This is the deepest they've been into the offensive third in the last 15 minutes. Georgetown have dominated the possession early on. Although that isn't necessarily unexpected coming in. Butler very comfortable defending for long stretches and building from the back. As Leonard plays it into the edge of the 6. And Annika Schmidt just lost her footing. Butler have Georgetown scrambling just a bit. Kowalski winning it back. And a throw for Butler. Fans here really applauding the effort from Amanda Kowalski. Butler trying to get back to the NCAA tournament. That was a stated goal of theirs coming into the season, and certainly a result, a 3-point result to be specific, against this Georgetown team would be huge. Ranked 11th in the country. Big time RPI matchup, especially for Butler. And it's funny, Terry St. John in our pre-match call said it feels like forever the last time these two teams met here in Indianapolis. The regular season matchup last year was at Georgetown, and so was the postseason matchup in the Big East tournament title. Got to go all the way back to the regular season in 2017. Find the last time that Georgetown have played in this venue, and Dave Nolan did say there are challenges unique to Butler. The way the wind swirls here down in the bowl. Of course, as we talked about, the shallow room along the sidelines. Sight lines are also a bit different too, given that this is a football stadium. Butler certainly have been very good playing at home. Just one loss since early October 2016 as it goes back to Georgetown. So many variables at play in this particular matchup, which is what makes it so interesting. Glad to have you with us along for the ride. Halfway down in the first 45 minutes. A run from Jermina Watnick. The pass didn't have the necessary touch behind it. Beautifully headed on as Soderstrom tries to pick it up. It was right off of her chest, though, and out for a goal kick. An elite, the freshman keeper, who beat out Lauren Gallagher in a heated battle at the start of the season, in preseason camp, that is. Lauren Gallagher was actually the keeper for Georgetown in their 1-0 loss to UNC in the College Cup last season. So to have her and her wealth of experience as a number 2 option gives you an idea of just the depth that Dave Nolan and his staff are working with in DC. Megan Nally whistled for the foul. Well, we knew this game would be physical coming in. Morgan Kloosterman going down. There's another look at it. Haven't had any cautions yet, though. Butler now organizing. Kloosterman playing it back in. Turnover. Nizelek. Lease. Now Savage tracking it down for the Dogs and wins a throw. Kloosterman. Soderstrom heading it forward. Big takedown. Nothing from the referee. And we play on. Soderstrom, far side, has it knocked away. Gainer. Jamina Watnick. This is one of those matches where not only are we looking at implications for the NCAA tournament, but also implications in the Big East tournament. Beautiful rundown from Katie Soderstrom. If the season ended today, Georgetown would be the #1 seed, but Butler, along with a handful of other teams, right on their tail. And now Ardar Omayan, just a stern talking to. Peyton Black on the contact, and a restart for Georgetown. This has developed into a nice rivalry in the conference, although Georgetown does lead this all-time series 7-1-1. Both coaches acknowledging that there is a friendly rivalry. They're always well-played matches. You look at the conference tournament championship a year ago, Georgetown winning 1-0. And Dave Nolan said, you know, over the years, Butler has often given us our best challenges, not only in the postseason, but also over the course of the regular season campaign, which is so grueling in this conference. And Butler did weather the storm midway through the first half as Georgetown continued to press, and now Butler doing a bit of pressing on their own. 15 minutes left in the first half. Soderstrom is in the area. Ball could not get through, though. And now Kloosterman plays it back. Kowalski bringing it forward. And Arustamayan has whistled Butler for a foul. Now, we did tell you that other games are going on around the league. Xavier on top of St. John's in the 30th minute. Sam Dewey, who else? Giving Xavier a 1-goal lead. The league's leading goal scorer. And a program that has been on the rise over the last couple of seasons under a new regime in Cincinnati. Savage giving Livingstone something to think about. Now Butler Butler playing it forward. Here's a run from Soderstrom. She is away, and the first shot near post saved by Anna Leeds. But great combination play from Butler there leading up to this. Soderstrom, tough angle, and well defended by Livingstone, who was beat initially. Butler second in the table with 10 points. Georgetown in first place on their own, at least for now, with 13. With a win, though, 3 points behind, they would also have 13 at the end of the day. And if Nova could get a win at Marquette, they too would have 13. So the possibility of a three-way tie atop the table at the end of the weekend, very much in play. Blind to Julia Leonard. Does well to get out of some heat there on the near side. And wins it back in the midfield. And a ball comes through. Butler trying to win it back. Big takedown, Macy Miller, and nothing from the referee and the Butler coaching staff. Ballistic. Surely that warranted at least a foul, if not a caution. Certainly seemed initially that Butler was past the last line of defense. It was Boo Jackson with the takedown. Marua Mayan didn't see anything there, at least not enough to give Butler the free kick. Well, you don't have to read body language or lips terribly well to understand the distaste. Butler not agreeing with some of the no calls. It certainly has been physical. 8 fouls total. Butler leading with 5. For the most part, though, the physicality has not interrupted the run of play, aside from that last look that Macy Miller thought she had in front of the goal. And now Kloosterman wins it back. This could be something for Butler. Well blocked by Jermina Watkin. Here's another look at that block. Jermina Watnick putting her body on the line. The senior from Chevy Chase, Maryland.
For 15, Celia Gaynor.
Celia Gaynor off and Leah Dean on for Butler in these closing 10 minutes of the first 45 from Indianapolis. Still no score between two of the top scoring teams in the conference. It's been quite a chess match in the first half. Yarish clearing it up the line. Soderstrom now. Her and Savage have not been able to find much in the offensive third, at least not playing off one another, something that they've done so well throughout the course of the season. You really have to credit the way this back line has locked down on Anya Savage. There is Aaliyah Dean, a freshman from Germany for Butler. She too competed for her youth national team in this past year's U17 World Championships. in Europe. Royston. Tracked down by Soderstrom. And now Julia Leonard offering support. Rolled out for a goal kick. Julia Leonard, the sister of Eric Leonard, who played at Butler and actually scored in their first ever Big East championship victory back in 2017, I believe, on the men's side, taking down Creighton. And he now playing for the League One side in the USL, forward Madison FC, who just lost in the USL League One semifinal. He is in the house this afternoon watching this all-important matchup atop the women's soccer table in the Big East. There is Julia. Savage switching fields. Into the middle now for Annika Schmidt. Not the pass she would have liked. She says, my bad. That's, one area that she's really improved in, actually.
Substitutions for Georgetown.
Since coming to Butler.
20, Casey Richards for 6, Jenna Menta. 8, Devin Liss for 16, Carson Mazelic. And 13, Sophie Fox for 7, Amanda Carolyn.
A string of substitutions coming on for Georgetown. Devin Liss, Sophie Fox, and Casey Richards all in for these last 7 minutes and change. Jenna Royston, who's got 3 goals to her name this season, flipped out for another Georgetown throw.
Substitution for the Dogs, 16, Gretchen Skoglund for 14, Macy Miller.
Gretchen Skoglund coming on as Macy Miller exits. Miller, of course, part of that controversial no call about 8 minutes ago. Butler thought they might have an opportunity with a one-on-one situation, but was well defended. And Soderstrom giving an elite something to think about. Neither keeper really has been involved in much action so far this afternoon. And a big takedown in the midfield. Rustamayan signaling for a free kick. That was Julia Lease taking a knock. Knocking heads with Morgan Kloosterman. Jenna Royston lining up over it. Good idea. Going back post, well defended by Amanda Kowalski. Under 5 minutes to play in the first half from Indianapolis. Butler second in the Big East standings with 10 points, 3 behind first place Georgetown. Dogs have not beaten Georgetown since 2015. The same year they went on to win their first and only Big East tournament title, which led them to their first NCAA tournament appearance. Into the middle for Anya Savage. Very physical collision. We play on. And out for a Butler throw. This has the feel of a postseason game. Mid-afternoon on a Sunday, late in the season. Some more at stake here than just a win or a loss. Georgetown wanted to get going quickly, but they'll have to bring it back to the spot of the foul. Julia Lease has found herself on the wrong end of some big collisions here over the last couple of minutes. And now Megan Nally. Went back post the last time. Where will she go here? Into the middle. Played over to Jermina Watnick. Towards the touch line. And out for a goal kick. Georgetown with 36 goals scored.
Substitution for Gia Vicari for 10, Paula Jermina
As
Watnick.
Gia Vicari comes on for Paula Jermina Watnick. Vicari, the freshman from Reading, Pennsylvania. But Georgetown, with those 36 goals, lead the league, and one of the highest scoring teams in the country at that. But in this stretch of 9 unbeaten games, they've only allowed 3 goals. And those came in back-to-back games, actually, against Xavier and Creighton. Royston draws the foul, and a restart for Georgetown with under 2 minutes to play. Some more movement across the front line here from Georgetown. Kloosterman had a beat on it. And a goal kick for Stephanie Rodriguez of Butler. Can the Dogs find something here in the final 60 seconds? High pressure from Georgetown, not making it easy to get out of their own end. Butler have to be careful here. Dean taken down, and a restart for Butler. Knocked out by Peyton Black. Closing moments of the first half. Georgetown pushing on.
7, 6,
Vicari walled off by Kowalski and Kloosterman, and that ends an entertaining first 45 from Butler University. The Dogs coaches, well, they would have liked to see 1 or 2 calls go their way. Macy Miller and a controversial no call went down in front of net. That really was the only chance to speak of in the first 45 minutes for Butler. Georgetown did give Stephanie Rodriguez some pressure. but we are still scoreless through 45. We'll be back with more at the halftime break from Indianapolis after this.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
Butler, Georgetown scoreless here at the half here at the Selleck Bowl. Let's throw it over to John Fanta and Megan Caffrey at the Big East Studios for a fall sports update.
Welcome into another Big East Fall Sports Update. John Fanta and Megan Caffrey with you here. We are right in the thick of fall sports. Men's soccer is in full swing, volleyball, and women's soccer just hit the halfway point of conference play. However, John, let's start with volleyball. We were talking about this Creighton-Marquette matchup last week. What surprised you in this?
The Blue Jays taking it from Marquette 3-2. You think about the Golden Eagles and just how good they've been. On the other side, what we saw was a Creighton program that is the 5-time reigning Big East champions, and they went to Milwaukee and made a huge statement. Defense stood out in the win. They came up with 7 blocks in the opening set of that win over Marquette, and Naomi Hickman was huge. Kirsten Bernthal Booth, Creighton head coach, said that she talked to Hickman before the match about putting those blocks away. The Blue Jays were tremendous defensively. We know what Allie Barber and a loaded Marquette attack has done across the country. But on this night in Milwaukee, Creighton makes a statement. And for the Blue Jays to do that at the Al McGuire Center, I got to say, that really stands out.
And a large part of that also, John, has to do with not only the Big East Freshman of the Week, but also the Big East Offensive Player of the Week. And, well, Keely Davis is having herself a week because she was also named the National Player of the Week, and I had a one-on-one with her and spoke about all of her success.
We now welcome in the Big East Freshman and Offensive Player of the Week, Creighton's Keely Davis. Keely, your team is on an 8-game streak, most recently beating the then 10th-ranked Marquette Golden Eagles. As this matchup with Marquette has really turned into a rivalry over the years, where would you rank the win over Marquette in this 8-game win streak?
I would say it's one of the top wins for us because I think although we've been focusing like one game at a time, it was the biggest match for us, and we were pretty prepared and staying fun and focused. So that was the main aspect of it.
You yourself had a career high 31 kills against Marquette. At what point did you realize you were really on?
Not until we took a timeout and I looked at the scoreboard and I was like, oh, okay, like 31 or like 27 or whatever. But I was surprised because I didn't know what was going on because our team was doing so well and I couldn't have done it without the players. So
Keely, you're a redshirt freshman this year, so you've been around the program. How did last year really help you in your development?
I had a lot of great leaders, especially Tara and Jaylee, just because they were in my spot. So I really looked up to them, and I worked my butt off and made the team better. So I think that was one of the good aspects of redshirting.
How would you describe the personality of this year's Creighton volleyball?
We're crazy, not crazy, like crazy bad, but we're crazy good. There's a lot of laughter on the team, and like I said, we're fun and or the main aspect is fun and focus. So that's what we're striving to do every game. So and practice.
One of the reasons you said that you chose Creighton is because of its atmosphere. How would you describe the atmosphere specifically at DJ Sokol Arena?
It is crazy loud, but I just love all the support and fans that we get, so it's super exciting.
Keely, thank you so much for your time and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
It's just been incredible to watch what Creighton is doing with their volleyball. As we now turn to men's soccer, however, John, there are two heavyweights right at the top, St. John's and Georgetown. They've been really dominant this whole season.
It's incredible what St. John's has been able to do, 4-0 in the Big East. And instead of that moment where they might have a hiccup, it seemingly means that they keep picking up steam. Dr. Dave Mazur has offensive options. We've talked about that. And then you've got the Georgetown Hoyas, who showed that what they're doing in the Big East, well, it got validated because in a national showdown on FS1 with the reigning national champions, the Maryland Terrapins, Derek Dotson delivered, and the Hoyas, who are also complex to defend because they've got several different clutch performers who can finish. They pull it off over Maryland in 1-0 fashion. So everything is aligning for a Georgetown-St. John's showdown in late October, but these two teams at the top of the standings, and after those two, there's a lot to still figure out in Big East men's soccer. It may be a marathon, but if you can find that sprint, I sure as heck can't find it. If you can find that sprint, something quickly can happen. Opportunity knocks.
It is going to be an exciting finish there, but we have plenty of conference play to be played, and you can check out all of the action this weekend on the Big East Digital Network, women's volleyball, and then women's and men's soccer as well. For John Fanta, I'm Megan Caffrey. Thank you so much for tuning in.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
Welcome back here at the Butler Bowl. It's tied here 0-0 here at the Selleck Bowl. Catch us here with quick highlights here just in a bit.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
Second half kickoff right around the corner from Butler University. The Bulldogs have to feel pretty good about how they played in the first half. They weathered a couple of storms from Georgetown, especially midway through the first 45. Got a couple of looks, particularly the one towards the end of the first half. Macy Miller going down. She thought she was fouled. The coaches thought she was fouled. No call. And we played on. Georgetown then found a couple of opportunities after this. Here was the questionable call. Macy Miller got a touch on it, but upon second and third look, you think perhaps Art or Amayan might have thought, well, there might have been contact before Macy Miller actually got a foot on it. Either way, speculate as we might, it was a no call, and Georgetown wondering how they find the back of the net in the second half and continue their unbeaten streak. They have not lost since early September to the 5th-ranked Virginia Cavaliers. In fact, you got to go all the way back to September 5th for that 2-0 loss to Virginia. Katie Soderstrom What's going through her mind? How does she get involved offensively? The Bulldogs leading goal scorer with 7 this year, 5 more than her previous career high. And the second half is underway. 45 down, 45 to go from Indianapolis. Throw from Jenna Menta, who has started the last 5 matches now due to some injury. Charlie Kern out still for the Hoyas, and now a turnover on the offensive third. Menta knocked out, and a goal kick for Butler. Georgetown undefeated in conference play, but it hasn't been a cakewalk for the Hoyas. They trailed in their last match 2-0 against Creighton before coming back and finding 1 point in a 2-2 draw. Lease, down she goes, and Artemayan whistles for a free kick. You have to wonder, with the physicality we've seen in the first half and then carrying over in the opening 2 minutes of the second, will we see any cautions as this game goes on and the intensity increases? Boo Jackson with the left foot, just a little too high for Jamina Watnick, and Miller kicks it back across midfield. For Georgetown, you know they have the capable scorers. It's just a matter of either A, unlocking this sound Butler back line, or in an instance like this where Butler is forced to possess deep in their own end, pressuring and causing a turnover. They are 7-1-1 all time against this Butler side. And as we discussed in the first half, that last loss, that only loss, coming back in 2015. Just 5 shots total in the first half. 3 for Georgetown, 2 for Butler, and none really threatening whatsoever. Monica Schmidt directing traffic. The warrior of the back line, according to Terry St. John in her redshirt senior campaign. Rodriguez into the midfield. Trissel. Kloosterman now. Savic. And draws a foul. And quickly restarting, but Artemayan did not like how quickly she got it going again, and back to the spot of the foul. Gorgeous afternoon in Indianapolis for a matchup of the two teams atop the table in the Big East women's standings. Georgetown entering the match with 13 points. Butler right behind with 10 in a 4-way tie for second. Although 2 of those sides, DePaul and Providence, who are part of the 4-way tie, played yesterday. So if Butler can just find 1 point, they would be in second place alone, and then would have to await the finish of the Marquette and Villanova match also going on today. Nova part of the four-way tie as well in second place with 10 points. But now wide for Amanda Kowalski. Tracked down by Jermina Watnick and out for a corner. First of the second half for Butler. Soderstrom, back post. Punted high over the top bar, but a good look for Butler here to start the second half. It was Julia Leonard getting a foot on it. A foul gives it back to Georgetown. We detailed the fact that over this 9-game unbeaten streak for Georgetown, they've only allowed 3 goals. And those 3 coming over the last 2 games. They've posted 7 clean sheets. But Butler, on the other hand, have scored in all but 1 match this season. The one time they didn't score was in a non-conference 0-0 tie with Utah in late September. Will something give here this afternoon? Jermina Watnick streaking down the middle of the field. Menta has it played out, and a throw coming for the Hoyas. Long throw into the area. Played wide by Trissel now. And back in, looking for Jermina Watnick. Kloosterman clears. And a throw for Boo Jackson. Boo Jackson didn't start at all last year. In fact, she was mainly used off the bench. 23 appearances as a reserve, but has been absolutely spectacular this year, as is that woman right there, Paulina Jermina Watnick, who gives way to Jenna Menta, a throw-in specialist. Touch line, and headed just too high by Julia Lease. Here's a ball through. Butler has a chance. Macy Miller back into the middle. Wide. Dogs looking for the first shot. And Soderstrom saved by Anna Leet. Macy Miller has found herself on the end of 2 really good opportunities. One to close out the first half and one to start the second. Soderstrom maybe just a touch to the left, and that might have snuck past Leet, who has not allowed many goals this year. 7 of their last 9 games have ended in a shutout of the opponent. And speaking of goal scoring, Xavier finding another in the second half now, leading St. John's 2-0. Playoff implications in that one as Xavier tries to get their way into the top 4. It's so tough right now with a 4-way tie for second place. Still a handful of games left to go, of course, in the conference slate, but Xavier doing their best to control their own destiny. And the way of doing that is getting 3 points today against St. John's. And far-reaching postseason implications as well in that game between Xavier and St. John's. If they were to win or draw, Seton Hall, with their 4-0 loss at DePaul yesterday, would be eliminated from the hunt. As Savage has a go. Her first shot of the afternoon sails wide, but boy, that was a spectacular hit from deep on the right side. Kowalski with an ocean of space on the right side. Into the middle, was looking for Savage. Not enough under it. Paid Black in by Peyton Black. Headed forward now. Savage lets it drop, and a foul called back to the Hoyas. Here's another look at it. Some contact there. Megan Nally going down. And enough for Art Aramayan to give it back to Georgetown. Big takedown in the midfield. We play on. Jermina Watnick pushing forward. Back into the middle now. And a curling ball right into the mitts of Stephanie Rodriguez. Soderstrom took a shot in the midfield from Kelly Livingstone. And that led to the run of play for Jermina Watnick. Kowalski wrestling on the far side with Metna. And Menta, rather, whistled for the foul. 15 minutes nearly gone here in the second half. Still scoreless, although the chances have started to come a bit more frequently for both sides. Just 5 combined shots in the first half. We've had 5 in these opening 15 minutes in the second. Lease. Into the middle. Off the foot of Carolyn. Jermina Watnick now. Slipping it through to Lease. Defended by Kloosterman, and a big tackle by Morgan Kloosterman. And now Macy Miller back the other way. release. Carolyn. Jermina Watnick just behind Menta. And Butler playing it back, getting reorganized now. Direction from the Butler sideline, trying to get Anya Savage another look. She's had one shot attempt so far this afternoon for Butler. 7 goals tallied on the season, matching her total from a year ago. But Georgetown have kept her locked down this afternoon. And likewise, Butler have kept a close eye on Amanda Carolyn. 3rd in the league with 9 goals. She herself has not had many opportunities to even get on the ball in the offensive third. Top 2 goal-scoring teams in the league. Kloosterman into the area. She was looking for Soderstrom. Guided wide, however, by Jenna Royston, and a goal kick for Anna Leitz. Butler have not scored against Georgetown in the last 6 matchups. Look at that, all the way back to October 11th, 2015. And that was the only win for Butler against Georgetown in their previous 9 matchups. Of course, that win helped solidify a top 2 seed in the tournament. And Butler went on to win that tournament final. Their lone Big East title trophy to this point since conference realignment ahead of the 2013 season. Jenna Menta on the run-up. Headed forward and back out by Schmidt. Kowalski. And now Boo Jackson. Playing it past Miller. Jackson weaving. Calmly cleared off the back line by Annika Schmidt.
Bulldog substitution, 16, Gretchen Skoglund for 7, Anya Savage.
And now Gretchen Skoglund coming on for Anya Savage, giving the Butler goal scorer a breath of fresh air. Skoglund, the freshman from St. Louis. And down goes Macy Miller. Back to Georgetown, however. And now a quick Georgetown substitution. Menta coming off. Sophie Fox, the freshman, coming on. So a pair of freshmen, one from each team, coming onto the pitch halfway through this final 45 in Indianapolis. Opportunity now. Soderstrom knocked off the ball. And now Georgetown sending numbers forward. Hoyas have not lost in conference play in over a year and a half. No losses this year so far through 5 matches, and none a year ago. In fact, their only loss in a 20-win season in 2018 was to North Carolina in the College Cup. They have been the gold standard of the Big East for some time. But Butler have often given them a tough matchup. Miller hops it into the midst of an elite. A touch for Carolyn. Galloping forward. And taken off the ball by Julia Leonard. Big time tackle in the run of play. Carolyn slow to get up as Georgetown goes wide now for Boo Jackson. Linda Carolyn still down and clearly in pain here after that tackle from Julia Leonard. She is receiving medical attention. Let's take one more look at that last tackle that sent Carolyn to the ground. Nothing dirty and nothing immediately noteworthy about the tackle, but Carolyn got her ankle caught up and hobbling off the field, not totally under her own power. So we hope that she's able to return to this game, because if she's not, that certainly changes the dynamic of things offensively for Georgetown. Certainly favoring that right leg. She has been so good for this team this year. In her 80th appearance in a Georgetown uniform, 9 goals. But more than that, she's been vital to the flow of this offense, tallying a point in 7 of the last 8 matches. Jenna Menta coming back on for Amanda Carolyn, who's taken her boot off on the Georgetown sideline. 23 minutes even left in this match. Still no score. And a goal kick for Georgetown. Jermina Watnick. Here comes Georgetown, and it's rolled out of play. Butler, Amanda Kowalski is down. One more look at that, just jammed it up. And now she'll walk off, hobbling.
Bulldog substitution 11, Taylor Crow for 5, Amanda Kowalski.
Amanda Kowalski off and Taylor Crow on, her first appearance of the match this afternoon. Although no stranger to the pitch this season, Crow played in 12 matches over her first 2 seasons, now her 15th appearance here in 2019. Quite the progression for Crow, who is a local product like many on this roster. Hails from Noblesville, Indiana, just up the road, north of Butler's campus. 20 minutes left, still no score. Butler have had the better of the chances. They really have to credit their back line for doing such a good job against the best offensive team in the country. Or one of, anyway, but certainly the highest scoring team in the Big East. Georgetown now threatening. Jermina Watnick blocked by Annika Schmidt. The warrior on the back line for Butler comes up again. And now Butler with numbers coming forward. Soderstrom signaling to play it back, and it does go all the way back to Annika Schmidt. Soderstrom winning it back. A lot of space on the left side now. Menta. And Rodriguez sliding on top of it. The 11th ranked Georgetown Hoyas being tested every step of the way this afternoon from Butler. One more look. Rodriguez in communication with Kloosterman. Georgetown's last conference loss, October 15th, 2017, in a 1-0 defeat at the hands of the Providence Friars. And a foul whistled against Butler's Gretchen Skoglund. Kelly Livingstone taking her time to get up and shake that off. No cautions in this game. Quite surprising with how physical it's been played. Art Aramayan, our central referee, has certainly let these ladies play this afternoon. Taylor Crow now. Played into Skoglund, looking for Dean. 18 total fouls and no cautions to speak of yet. Just a lot of soccer left to play as these two sides search for a game-changing goal. Butler coming off back-to-back 1-0 wins in the conference over Creighton and St. John's, and both of those goals came in the 78th minute or later, and both off the foot of Katie Soderstrom. Menta in the 18. Crow knocks it out of bounds, but our assistant referee has signaled for a goal kick, much to the chagrin of Jenna Menta. Dave Nolan, not a fan of that call. Well done by Jenna Royston of Georgetown to play it back in. Well, there is Amanda Carolyn, and we wondered if we'd see her back on the pitch at any point in this match, and it doesn't appear so. Boot and socks off, and the ice pack wrapped around her ankle. And not knowing the extent of the injury, we certainly hope for a quick recovery so that she can get back out there with the rest of the season and certainly the postseason ahead of Georgetown. This was the play that led to the injury. Looked like she might have rolled her ankle just a touch on the tackle from Julia Leonard, as that ball is won back by Butler.
Bulldog substitution 7, Anya Savage for 15, Celia Gaynor.
Celia Gaynor coming off. Anya Savage back on for Butler after getting about a 15-minute breather. A little over 15 minutes left to play in the second half from Butler. A matchup of the top of the table. First place Georgetown, second place Butler, playing for a massive 3 points in Indianapolis. Savage on the near side, knocked out. Sarah Trissel. Georgetown now off the touch line. Hoyas have 3 games remaining after this matchup with Butler today. DePaul, Seton Hall, and St. John's left on the Georgetown schedule. And as we talked about earlier, should Xavier's result hold against St. John's, Seton Hall would be knocked out of playoff contention. The first knockout of the season as we get down to the home stretch here. 4 teams glommed up in second place, including Butler, Villanova, Providence, DePaul, all with 10 points. Xavier, though, leading 2-0 over St. John's. Should they hold with that result, their 3 points would give them 12. And if this were to end in a tie, they would actually take over second place, assuming that Marquette is not defeated by Villanova. So there's just so much at stake right now in terms of postseason seeding. Next 2 weeks in the women's soccer slate will be crazy. And really the same can be said for the men's side as well. A lot of parity across the league. Most recent national RPI rankings coming out earlier this week, and the men's Big East Conference ranked number 2 behind only the ACC. Savage lets it roll out, and back to Georgetown. Lees dancing, leaves it off for Menta. We had a back post run by Carson Nizelik, who has not been involved much in the second half. We did see her on the ball in the offensive third a lot in the first. Skoglund comes off. Macy Miller back on for Butler, who has had a fine touch or two over the course of this match as we dip down under 12 minutes remaining in regulation. Butler have lost just one time on this field since October 6, 2016. That loss coming earlier this year to Illinois in the non-conference slate. They've been so tough to dismantle and break down at the Selleck Bowl. Defense is their calling card, and we've seen it today against the best of the best in the Big East. But now looking for their goal. Played in by Kowalski. Soderstrom on the end of it, cleared away by Lees. And now Lees heading it forward. A 2-on-2 as Menta comes into the attack. Wrestled off by Morgan Kloosterman. My, what a fine tackle defensively.
Bulldog substitution 5, Amanda Kowalski. For 11, Taylor Crow.
Taylor Crow providing valuable minutes for Butler. She comes off, and Kowalski, who was a bit banged up, coming back on for the final 10. Boo Jackson. Well turned back in by Nizelek. And too far forward in front of Soderstrom. Savage leaving it for Kowalski. Macy Miller. Played back in by Kloosterman. Well, what a fine game Morgan Kloosterman has played. Defensively making tackles on the back line, coming up in the attack, keeping it for Butler. Look at this effort, sprinting 30 yards across the field to win it back. She has been, if not the most valuable player, certainly a top 3 for either side this afternoon. Still a couple of years of eligibility left, too. The coaching staff really excited about the growth that she still has left in her. Ian couldn't quite get a foot on it. Soderstrom has a go. And played back now to Annika Schmidt. Kowalski. Dean playing it wide. Butler might have something here. Kloosterman up to Dean and knocked off the line by Livingstone. 7 minutes left from Butler. Can the Dogs find something here? Harry St. John and Rob Allman looking for a signature win against a top 15 opponent. Georgetown with an 11 ranking coming into the weekend. A long throw from Annika Schmidt. And a foul sending Megan Nally to the turf. Anya Savage really just has not been able to get into the flow of this one. Had an absolute ripper to start the first half. That's the only touch she's had, though, around goal. Dave Nolan has to be pleased with the defense that they have played on Anya Savage. And another restart, this time in the midfield. Peyton Black whistled for the foul. Time melting away in Indianapolis. Still no score. Georgetown looking for something creative to get some space. Played in by Nally. Nizelek. And this time the freshman Dean getting into the mix. And Jermina Watnick plays it out of bounds back to Butler. 5 minutes left. Savage. Dean. And out for Georgetown. Hoyas have not managed a shot since probably the first 15 minutes of the second half. It was a fiery start from both attacks, but we've really settled back into a defensive stalemate as this game has gone along. And a goal kick now for Rodriguez. Well, Dave Nolan did tell us, in spite of our 7-1-1 record against Butler all time, this will be a very entertaining and tightly played match, and he was not wrong. Leet. It was a one-goal match in the 2018 Big East Tournament title. Georgetown coming out with the win, winning their third consecutive Big East championship and their second in a row against Butler. Rematch of that tournament title. And certainly the expectation is that we will see them again in November, playing with postseason implications on the line and perhaps even another tournament trophy at stake. Ball in, looking for Leets. Menta into the area. It was Livingstone coming across, but a foul is called. And back to Butler. Menta has played really well today. Just a consistent motor and effort. Not sure where exactly the foul was there. Perhaps off our screen, but Could have also been the offside flag too. 2 minutes left. Georgetown riding a 22-game unbeaten streak against the Big East, including postseason. Their last loss, October 15th, 2017 against Providence. Tracked down by Alyssa Yarish of Butler. And out it goes for a Hoya throw. And there you see on your screen the last overtime matchup between these two sides. October 2017, it ended in a 0-0 draw. But this is an opportunity, the first corner kick of the second half, if you can imagine that, for Georgetown, who lead the league in corners. And it'll be taken by Boo Jackson, who leads the team with 9 assists. Sophie Fox in the box, Jenna Menta as well, near post. And it goes near post, headed out by Julia Leonard. Anya Savage might have gotten on that as well. "40 seconds. Georgetown hunting for that late game-winning goal. Instead, it's played up to Macy Miller. Butler running forward. Everyone coming into the fold. 15 seconds for Miller to create. Nobody home for Butler.
10,
and that
9,
will end
8,
regulation.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3,
90 minutes,
2,
not
1.
enough in Indianapolis. The top two teams in the Big East battling it out. We've got free soccer from Selleck Bowl in Indianapolis coming up next.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/save.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Welcome back. It is 0-0 here at the Selleck Bowl, Butler, Georgetown. This game is here on the line. Matt, back to you.
Thank you very much, Chelsea. Butler receiving their final instructions ahead of overtime kickoff. They have not lost but one time on this field since October 2016. And meanwhile, the Hoyas, a 9-game unbeaten streak. You got to go all the way back to September 5th to find their last loss in 2019. That came in a 2-0 defeat at the hands of the 5th-ranked Virginia Cavaliers. Paula Dramino-Watnick anxiously awaiting the start of this overtime. The Hoyas are unbeaten in Big East play, including postseason, in the last 22 matches. They put that streak to the test here in overtime against Butler, and we are underway in the first overtime period. Kowalski chased down by Menta, and now Miller. The pressure high and unrelenting from Georgetown all afternoon. Majority of the chances in the second half came from Butler after possession was dominated by Georgetown. The Hoyas with 36 goals this year. Most in the Big East and one of the highest scoring numbers in the country rather. A real credit to Butler, full team defensive effort. Miller making a run. Leet off her line, punting it back across midfield. Kloosterman. Bulldogs trying to organize here. Late heroics potentially on the line for Butler, who have found the late goal in their last two matches. In fact, they had an overtime winner against Creighton last week, which preceded a late game winner in the 78th minute against St. John's. So no stranger to finding the back of net late in games. It was Katie Soderstrom, the reigning Big East Player of the Week, on the end of both goals. And she is trying to get free near the touchline. Schmidt throwing it towards Savage. Gaynor wrestling on the edge of the box. Miller tracking it down now for the team in white. Peyton Black. Played in by Annika Schmidt and cleared off the line by Sarah Trissel. Fantastic composure from Georgetown. Butler had them scrambling just a bit there. We do have a final to report between Xavier and St. John's. The Musketeers, big winners, 3-0, giving them 3 points today, and thus they move from middle of the pack to second place, actually, as this game is still going on. They now have 12 points, one shy of the Hoyas, who sit atop the Big East table. Here comes a ball in from Kowalski. Back post looking for Schmidt. Played down and off the top bar. My goodness. Testy moments there for Annalete. And Butler inches away from winning in overtime. Beautiful execution. Annika Schmidt finding the boot of Celia Gaynor, who, had she not lost her footing, perhaps would have buried that just above the outstretched fingertips of Annalete. And the reaction on the berm, Butler fans thought that was golden. And a surprise in Milwaukee right now. Marquette on top of Villanova 2-0. Nova, of course, part of the four-way tie entering today for second place, sitting with 10 points. So if that result holds, there will be some separation at the end of the weekend. And a foul called on Celia Gaynor. Should that result hold as well, Marquette would jump from 7 points to 10, and you could potentially have 5 teams sitting with 10 points. If that were the case, then the Xavier Musketeers, who began the day in third, would actually be alone in second. Not much separates the top half of this league, and that's what's made it so fun. And we're seeing that on display this afternoon between Butler and Georgetown as we get another look at that last foul. Gaynor, she's been whistled now twice in the last 60 seconds as Georgetown bunches up around the edge of the 18. Played in by Nally, looking for Lease and tipped away by Rodriguez, but the play was weighed off anyway. 3 minutes left in this overtime. Should we stay tied, we will have a second 10-minute overtime period. And that was actually off the post by Julia Lease. Wouldn't have counted, but still Beautifully headed. Annika Schmidt barking orders from the back line for Butler. Miller poked away by Jermina Watnick. And now Savage, oh, she had a run in her sights. Royston. Up for Nally, slipping it through, but right into the hands of Rodriguez. Savage, well defended. They have been all over her this afternoon. Miller now into the middle. Kowalski. Savage on the near side. But look at that, 2 or 3 jerseys around her at all times. Kloosterman. Jermina Watnick. There's a run from Royston into the 18. And well defended, blocked out by Julia Leonard. And a corner coming with under 60 seconds in overtime number 1.
Ten, 9, 8, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
100 minutes, not enough from Indianapolis. We'll play 10 more. Golden goal. The streak of 22 unbeaten matches in the Big East for Georgetown on the line still. Couple of close calls. Butler off the top bar, then back the other way, not minutes later, off the post. Stay with us on the Big East Digital Network. We'll be right back from Indianapolis after this.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Some last second instructions from the legendary Dave Nolan. In his 16th season, he's amassed over 215 wins at the helm of Georgetown, and his Hoyas unbeaten in Big East play, including postseason in the last 22 matches. You got to go all the way back to October 15th, 2017, a 1-0 defeat at the hands of the Providence Friars. And then on the other side, Butler. They have to be energized by how they've played this afternoon. A near perfect match leading to a near miss that would have ended this match on a winning note. Gorgeous day from the Butler Bowl in the shadows of Hinkle Fieldhouse, where basketball season looms just around the corner, but we've got postseason implications on the line in Big East women's soccer between the top two teams in the Big East, at least entering today. But with Xavier's win, they are actually in second with 12 points. Butler falling back to third if you are going by live results. The Dogs coming off an overtime win earlier last week. Rob Allman and Terry St. John hoping to find 3 points in this match against the 11th ranked Georgetown Hoyas, and Dave Nolan and his staff hoping to keep the streak alive. 4-0-1 in conference play are the Hoyas to this point. And as Dave Nolan told us in our pre-match call, they have been tested a time or two. They trailed Creighton 2-0 at halftime last week and found a way to get the tie. Can they find a way here to find the back of net and get 3 points to remain clear and away the favorite as we head into the final turn of Big East regular season play? Butler will start in the all-white, the final overtime from Indianapolis. Kowalski back towards midfield. Savage. Royston into the middle for Jamina Watnick. She wasn't there. A chance perhaps for Sophie Fox. And Jamina Watnick keeps it alive for Georgetown. Poked away. Corner kick. Still alive for Georgetown. Chased back out by Nizelik. Livingstone, what a match for her. She has been incredibly active. Running from box to box. Jamina Watnick to take this corner. Near post. Schmidt got a head on it. Still loose. Gaynor playing it back towards the 30 and all the way now to the midfield line. Livingstone. Jamina Watnick. And it's out for another corner, the fourth already. And we're not even 3 minutes through in the second overtime. Golden goal scenario. 3 points on the line. Postseason implications also in play. Jamina Watnick. And not enough on it. Goal kick now for Stephanie Rodriguez.
Bulldog substitution, 19, Carly Gehring for
Carly Gehring now will come on for Butler. Her first appearance of the match. And it comes with just under 7 minutes left in overtime. Soderstrom, who played 100 minutes plus, heads to the bench. Quickly thrown in now from Gehring. There is Macy Miller on the near side. Could not keep it alive, however. And again, Amanda Carolyn now with crutches. She's put her shoes and her socks back on. We saw her with ice earlier in the second half. Hopefully the crutches are just precautionary. Would hate to see her out in the final stretch of the regular season for Georgetown, who do have more postseason aspirations this year after making it all the way to the College Cup a season ago. Carly Gehring to throw it in for Butler. Wide to Kowalski. Carly Gehring to take the throw for Butler. Looking for Anya Savage. Kowalski heading it back in. Gaynor was around the area into the midst of Anna Leeds. Under 4 minutes to play. So we have no score. We would end in a 0-0 draw. Both teams would be awarded a point, and Butler would find themselves in third behind Xavier and Georgetown. Rolled back to Rodriguez, who quickly comes out and does a nice job of playing it away. Gaynor was looking for Savage. Lease out of play, and a goal kick coming. Georgetown have been on the front foot in this second overtime. Butler was oh so close to end the first overtime, put a ball off the top bar. Dave Nolan's club searching for 3 points here. Can they get a late goal? Or will Butler put on another chance on frame? Bulldogs have been held scoreless in the last 6 meetings with Georgetown. Last time they scored was in 2015, their lone win against Georgetown, which was also the year they went on to win the Big East tournament title. Hoya is trying to keep a lock on that #1 seed. They have won 3 consecutive Big East tournaments, and they've been to the NCAA tournament 7 consecutive times. Menta blocked by Gehring. 90 seconds. What a battle, and it comes down to the end. Menta, long throw, headed away, and a goal kick for Rodriguez. Butler will have to work quickly here. 70 seconds remain. The last overtime meeting, well, it ended in a draw. That was back in 2017 as well.
1 minute to play.
60 seconds. Can one of these sides find late game magic? Ahead now for Gehring. .30 seconds. Georgetown throwing it in. Butler a foul, and the clock will continue to tick as Georgetown will get everyone forward here. This will certainly be the last chance. 10 seconds.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And that does it from Indianapolis. The streak stays alive for Georgetown. 23 consecutive games unbeaten against the Big East. And the Hoyas, with this point against Butler, remain at the top of the table with 14. Butler slides to third as Xavier goes into second. 0-0 from Indy. We'll be back with a post-game interview after this.
We aren't just dreamers. We're doers.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Good things happen when you unleash a Butler Bulldog.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
It's time to fuel your ambitions by taking charge of your student debt. At SoFi, we've helped over 250,000 people refinance their student loans, saving thousands of dollars. Now you can pay off your student loans faster and reach your goals sooner. See how much you can save in just 2 minutes at SoFi.com/.
Coach, 2 overtime periods, scoreless, a 0-0 against this team. What can you submit your team's back line today?
They put us under a little bit of pressure. The day that was in it, it was a very big game for them, maybe more so than for us, to be fair. And it was just another Big East game. We're typically the top 2 teams, and I think both teams went at it. The refereeing, it was a little bit inconsistent at times. But I think overall a draw was probably a fair result. I don't think either of us landed a knockout punch.
And moving forward with this team, what does 1 point mean moving forward this entire season?
Well, the good thing is, I mean, they were second and they needed the 3 points, so we still keep a little bit of separation with them. And then as we head into these last 3 games, it's going to come down to who picks up the most points.
When you and I talked a few days ago, you said that this team and this whole entire series against this team, it's become a rivalry. Would you say that's definitely something that's moving forward too?
Yeah, very much so. And in particular out here, this is not an easy place to play. The artificial turf on a hot day is very spongy, it's very soft. It's like playing on the moon in moments. But I thought we tried, our kids tried, and Butler did too. And both teams in moments had some moments of soccer, but it was hard to get that ultimate piece of quality that was needed to win the game.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Matt, back to you.
Thanks, Chelsea. Both teams come away with 1 point, and as Coach said, probably a fair result. Beautifully played match between both sides. Hoyas remain atop the table now with 14 points. With Xavier's win, they actually jump into second. Butler slides down to third. That doesn't necessarily seem fair given the way they played, but that is the way that this conference has gone all season. We are in for a really fun final 3 matches. The final stretch of Big East play right around the corner. But the Hoyas remain unbeaten in their last 23 matches against the Big East. Butler extends to 3-1-2 in the Big East. Hoyas 4-0-2. For our entire Rush Media crew, for Chelsea Groves, I'm Matt Schumacher saying so long from Butler with a final score, Dogs 0, Hoyas 0.